Is up, boys and girls, ladies and gentlemen, day traders, closet swing traders? Hope you guys are doing absolutely fantastic. Hope you guys being safe from earnings season as it obviously gets crazy. And we will have a lot more earnings for the rest of this week. Things can change drastically, very quickly, especially obviously to individual names. And then we have just when you think we'll be safe. Earnings ends on Friday. Not really ends. We got a lot more, but for the most part, a lot of the big heavyweights out of the way after this week, and we should be sitting good until Jerome Powell comes back the following week. So it just never ceases to get crazy. But you guys are piling in. Good morning. We got Albert in the house. We've got Amy. Good morning, Amy. We got Ann in the house. Bill, Brandon, Cedric. We got Chris J, Christopher, Cindy K, Doug D. Hope you're doing absolutely fantastic. Jenny, Greg Hill, my boy Greg Gilbert. We got Hector gracing us with his presence. Jay, good morning. We got Jill, Joe, Carrie, Kevin, Kyle, Liza, Lucian, Marcia. I want to go Marcia. No, I'm gonna go Marcia. I'm gonna go Marcia. That's the hill I'm gonna die on. I don't know. Marcus, good morning. We got Matt in the house. We got Mike. My boy Rock is here. Sam is here with us. We got Tony, Tanya, Will. Yes, sir. We got you guys piling in. Hope you guys again are doing fantastic. All my friends in YouTube land, thanks for joining us each and every day. We really do appreciate it. And again, YouTube land, we're broadcasting for you guys, so make sure that you guys ask questions. If you have any tickers you want to review, by all means, at any time, do that. It costs you nothing. It's freemium. The only thing I'm going to charge, I will actually charge. The only thing I'm going to charge is that like. Just make sure, especially if you guys have a question, make sure you hit that thumbs up. That's it. That's all I'm asking for. I don't think that's too crazy. We got Renee. Good morning, Renee. All right, so let's see. We got some heavyweight juggernaut earnings that came out yesterday. We were feeling good at the end of the day on the close, at least if you were bullish. If you're bearish, just waiting for this market to die down. Not maybe as enthusiastic, but if you're bearish, don't worry. We have some positive news for you. We got some companies reporting some negative news, which is positive for you. Mainly tech. We'll go through Qs next, but mostly tech is dropping a little bit or some kind of pullback. Again, relatively big, massive move. We're coming in from 364.81 to roughly 385.16. That means the market did 20 points in one. I mean, I'll start it back here. 1, 2, 3, 4 days. Yeah, face ripping bullish move. Is it over yet? I don't know. Somebody asked me yesterday, and I tried to put it in words that like kind of made sense. And then after I said, I'm like, well, man, that's the most confusing thing. But they go, what sentiment? What are you feeling? I'm like, all right, how about this one? Bearish at open, then bullish, and then like longer term bearish. So all over the place, play it both ways. What I was thinking is after those earnings came in, again, the market needs something positive. They need some of those bigger names to actually have some good reports, good outlooks, good forecast. Greg says, way to be committed. I know. So we don't have it yet. We don't have it yet. I am still. So I would say like time-wise, I'm looking at it. I'm going, yeah, I think we probably pull back in the morning. There's probably some new additional fear. Maybe we get a pullback to like 377.86. That's going to be a big one if it happens today. Let's do one more thing. Let's draw a quick little Fibonacci. When in doubt, let's go to the fibs. Let's see, where would this pull back? Even if this is the rotation, and it's really just a 50% retrace, that still takes us to 374.98. Yeah, maybe that could happen. If we get down to the 38 retracement, the 0.38, that's somewhere around the 377. So we do have some ability to pull back. We have this VPOC not retested. This one was technically. So we gapped up. We came back. We did retest that one. This one we did retest over here. So I'm kind of eyeing down this 377.95. I think that would be a pretty sweet spot for some kind of a retest. We almost retested it here, a very short time frame on a lot of these retests, but I'm going to count them for now. Where this market is actually opening, Stephen King is in the house. Good morning, Stephen. Where this market is opening, if we're looking at the developing VPOCs from yesterday, obviously we're below where we closed. That strongest volume, strongest VPOC of the day, that's somewhere around 380, 373. We've been saying 383 is going to be a very strong resistance for a while, but that would be today's 383.73 if we somehow go bullish. But we also had developing VPOC 383.60. We had another one somewhere in the range of 383.13. We had another one at 382.27, and we are getting crushed underneath all of them at this point. That being said, let's go to a slightly longer time frame, just because on that 15-minute, if we're not holding the level we're at now, we do have some downward move. I don't see any real volume coming in, obviously, from this chart right now. Let me go scroll out a little bit more. On the hourly, not looking great, right? So this yellow line, this is where our volume is, right? All of this now, which should have been some type of support, if we can stay above it. We're actually opening below it at this point. So if you're holding the SQQs, you're probably getting paid today. I don't see a lot of room, probably until we might get a little support somewhere around 378.69. Past that, we're going to start looking probably about that 377, which is where we were calling before, right? So not a lot of support in this zone at all. We could see a little bit of a slightly bigger pullback. And again, that's my bearish thesis for today in a very short time frame. Possibly later today. Again, I think in a little bit further out perspective, a little bit further out, yeah, I think we did make a break, and what I could see probably happening is something like this. We get this pullback, we make some kind of S-curve rotation, and we do something like that. And then that third bear case, after we make that last move, we pull back, probably full wave count somewhere, wherever it comes, and then longer term, still very, very bearish, right? So I'm thinking that we're just still kind of in some kind of a bigger move. And this also could be, by the way, the wave that we just put in could be a wave 3 too. All right, if we're actually looking at the chart, which I don't know why I say actually looking at the chart, where else am I supposed to be looking at? It's like I'm looking at my screen, but my eyes are closed. So this would be a 1, a 2, this could be a 3 if this is our rotation, 4, either double top or probably one new higher high. We'll see how long this wave 4 lasts. And then maybe we come down for a bigger correction. Who looks at the chart? Not Kathy Woods. All right, we got Google under last Friday's candle. So yeah, let's go to some of those. First of all, let's go to the Qs real quick. And I see, take a look at SOL. We will do that as well. The Qs. Let's see. Again, the Qs are a little bit weaker than the SPY at this point. However, maybe we hit some kind of support. I don't know. I don't want to say that out loud, but maybe. We'll find out. No, not even close yet. So we're right between the 0.23 and 0.38. So first, probably a little bit of support somewhere around 277.89. But again, if this is a 50% retrace, we're probably looking at 276.43 or a real 270, real 50% pullback 275.73. So again, I think a lot of this has to do with, and again, it's not a great gap. I mean, even where this volume comes in, you have volume, a little bit of a bullish volume spike on this candle right here. Right now, we're opening below this candle on an hourly basis. So everybody who was buying, they're trapped. And I do think most of this move, by the way, is a squeeze and not so much people going all hands on deck as far as I need to buy everything. Right? I think that in some sense, a lot of it could be a squeeze. But there is a lot of volume under this candle. Probably going to freak some people out a little bit, and then we come down at least into this VPOC. So again, we'll see that. But this VPOC right here has to be retested. That one has to. I could make a case that this one kind of was already, but at least this whatever range, probably 276.60, we'll call it. But somewhere in that range, I think has to be retested. Greg says, when are we going to be able to distinguish between a squeeze and a real rally? I think a real rally would be more so in a bullish market. I think for the most part, anytime you have big moves in a bearish market, it's really just some kind of a squeeze. Because the again, bearish short term, bullish like medium, and then like bearish. The bigger, if we go out to a larger time frame, we're still doing this, right? But we know a stock doesn't go straight down; it goes like this, right? And there's every time we get higher, right? We're making lower highs each time. People are loading up on puts as it comes down, right? And they're making money from here to here, and their intention is to hold it as long as possible. But as you start to see, we kind of rotate, we find some kind of bottom, we get some kind of good news, good earnings report from a big company, whatever the case, something causes us to start pushing up. The people that started making profit, they're starting to get squeezed out of the position. It depends on where they got in, but probably a lot of them taking some profits, locking in some things, but that helps push the market higher, higher, higher. However, the overall longer term sentiment is still bearish. So what I would need to see for us to say, okay, it's probably not a squeeze, maybe we actually did hit a bottom, would be for me some kind of overall bigger correction, bigger time frame. Give me like some weekly candles that are actually pushing some positiveness. Give me a higher low or at least a lower high in a longer term basis. Even on this capitulation candle, that was still a new low, right? We did hold, that looks good. And again, could bottoms be in for the year? Maybe, right? I think sometime after the election or heading into 2023, keep in mind, I mean, there's a lot of issues with energy supplies and cost of energy, and everyone's like, well, if it's a cold winter, we're gonna get clapped. So maybe I don't know. But I need to see it on a longer term basis. We're actually pushing bullish. And that would tell me that, okay, we're still, at least to some extent now, finding some buyers as opposed to everyone just getting squeezed out. All right, let's take a look real quick at Google. The Google search anything. Not a great candle that you want to see. We did have almost, this is going to be real weak. Yeah, so Google missed earnings. And I think one of the bigger parts of their earnings report was the YouTube that they missed on. Their YouTube revenue. So we kind of had like an outlier. It hasn't really missed in a while. Last quarter they missed. And people were thinking, all right, maybe out a little bit of an outlier. But YouTube is missed again. And I think that's got some worry. Again, down here at the zone, is this the best spot to short? It's going to get choppy. It's going to get choppy down here, but here's a daily chart, and we're gapping below 3 days of bullish buying. We definitely have some traps. This looks to me like a fairly good bull trap on this market, on the stock. We are gapping down 1, 2, 3 days, very strong candles, some okay volume, nothing too crazy. The bigger volume over here, if anybody was still in it from here, they're all losing again when they were just profitable. But otherwise, I don't know if this one opens and flushes straight out. I think we get some kind of a chop. These could be some areas that get a little interesting for some buyers to maybe look to build a position on. Just all right, Google's back under 98. I missed it that first time. Let me see if I can get it again. Ultimately, I think it's going to be short any of the bigger pushes. You guys want to look at Meta, which Meta actually did not report earnings, I don't think yet, right? Or did they? And I missed it. Let's see. No, today's the 26th. Meta. I believe they're after hours. I'm just double checking, but META. If I'm not mistaken, they're later today. Yeah, they didn't come out with earnings yet, but they do come out with earnings today. Meta is going to be one that's going to be very tricky today, specifically because we do have earnings legitimately in 8 hours from now, maybe 8 hours, 23 minutes, but who's counting? So people are going to be getting out of positions, getting in positions, trying to play the earnings. If you're doing anything with options, the premiums are going to be high in the calls and puts direction, so be careful of that. But again, yeah, not the best feeling for anybody that bought from roughly, well, the opening price today, 131.66, and bought it all the way up to 137. Relatively good, big move. We're just in a chop zone again right now. I expect, and it is inside candle from yesterday still. I wouldn't expect this one to do anything too crazy. You'll probably follow the markets to some extent. But a lot of times when the earnings come out, especially on a big company like this that you're looking at, they come out later at the end of the day. Maybe a big move right out of the gate somewhere. You are trapping some bulls, right? I'd have to lean a little bit more bearish, but more than likely, I think we just get chopped around until because again, even if this stock goes bearish completely today or bullish completely today, none of that matters after the bell today, right? So as soon as those earnings come out, that's going to be the significant catalyst on that one. But right now we are in a chop zone. I do expect it to be a little choppier inside day for right now. So day trading, that one is going to be a little tough. Tomorrow is going to be a much more fun day for the Meta. Let's take a look. We got CRM. So bear gap and go, a little bit of support. Does not look too terrific. If we start to really break this 160.05, so let's call it 160. If we start to break that, the next level down is probably about 157.80. If somehow that breaks, probably next level is 155.90. We'll call it 155.90. But I don't know if that comes in today. Right now, and keep in mind too, all of these pullbacks, and today's going to be an important close for a lot of things. But right now on the VPOC end of things, we are stair stepping up still, right? So the direction is still bullish, slightly longer term, but this is a big move on CRM. So getting some kind of a pullback into this 155.60 zone, doing something like this, and that makes sense. Right, I could definitely see that happening. The one thing I really like is that we are above this high volume candle. So we did have bullish momentum to come up to that. Is this going to be a great fade at open? Probably not. I probably would try to go long on this one. I would try to get in. I don't know when earnings come out on this beast, but this beast of burden. But yeah, I'd probably be looking to actually buy on that pullback, buy the dip on this one, try to run it up to the next level. Out of the gate, you will be trapping some bulls. I just don't know risk to reward wise if it's going to make sense to short it or just wait to try to attempt a long for maybe that next move higher. Out of the gate though, if we do come in and we end up retesting on this one, we end up getting back to 160, 160. That's probably a better spot to attempt a short, if anything. Come in for that retest, but this is a gap and go. You would expect this one to fade. You're just sitting at a little bit of support, and I don't think there's that much risk reward to the downside. You guys in YouTube land wanted SOL. Looking at SOL. Yeah, pretty decent breakout. I think the longer term trend is still kind of weak. I would imagine most of this has to do with is Bitcoin going to be anything, and Bitcoin, will it move? I mean, you are in a worst case, you are at a good longer term support if you want to take a shot somewhere, but I don't really see anything spectacular as to why it's going to bounce yet. I would almost want to see first we get some kind of new higher low in. Otherwise, at least the recent trend looks pretty bearish. Wave count wise, I mean, that's a nasty head and shoulders on a weekly. It drops. There's a retest. That could be a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, probably in some kind of ABC. I mean, if you're interested at it at 30, is it 30 billion? This is flipped over. But yeah, I don't know. Longer term support. So it's maybe worth a shot. I wouldn't do it yet. I would have to wait. At least for a trade purpose. Microsoft, we can look at that one. So Microsoft did beat earnings barely, but they did. Markets still don't like it. I think value, again, and this is not just a new development, valuation is starting to matter in these markets. I still think Microsoft, even though you're sitting at 230, 240 pre-market, is still a little overvalued. I'm personally looking for somewhere around the 160 zone. If they came out and absolutely clobbered the quarter, this would look a lot different, right? They beat, but barely. And I think people are still sitting from a much longer term basis, profitable in this thing. It's getting worried. Maybe some of those guys were just kind of waiting for see what happens on this earnings. If it goes crazy, good sell. But you did have a run up into it. We're just kind of selling underneath it. This is a daily chart. This is a pretty good bearish gap and go, almost down to not quite the levels of capitulation yet, but you have some kind of support around 230.41. And again, yes, I would, if I have to take a trade on Microsoft, I would be leaning a little bit more bearish. I would personally like for it to get bought up a little bit higher first, and then look for a better spot to come in short, maybe somewhere. I mean, honestly, we could probably see a move into 238, 240, somewhere in that zone. But I think people are going to start to continue to look at this thing short for the time being. Valuation to me is probably just a little too high, and I think a lot of people are starting to look at that. Tony says buy a few shares for long term. I have no problem about Microsoft's not going anywhere. I'm not buying yet. I'm just waiting. I want it closer down to that. I'd give it a little more. It is Microsoft. They have a pretty strong moat. Man, I start probably buying 180, somewhere in that zone. If I can get down to that 180, maybe I'll buy a couple shares at 214, just because we have some volume, some level that's like okay. I would not be buying here a couple shares. I would at least wait for about another $20 lower from here to start buying. For me personally, but I'd start going a lot heavier around 180 into the 160 zone. That's what I'm thinking. All right, let's get to the 6 stocks that we check out every single day. Amazon, they do have earnings coming out as well tomorrow. So again, another heavy hitter coming out. Definitely going to be highly looked at pretty much all day today and tomorrow as to what people are going to do. Right now, we're about a 50% retracement. This is a gap and go from yesterday. I would have to go bearish. I think anything around some of these bigger names today, at least, will get a little extra pressure on it. So this would be a buy the dip for me. If it does push higher, we're gapping into, again, just a big high level where we had a whole bunch of these VPOCs, this volume area. Honestly, it could go either way from here because we are roughly from the last move about a 50% retrace. If it gets down to, I'll mark this off, 114.13, that's going to be a spot that I'm actually interested in maybe attempting some kind of a long on. Not as a swing trade because I'm not going to hold it over earnings, but that would be interesting. And we're going to have some good resistance, probably 121. But it seems to be that we're just kind of channeling back and forth until probably tomorrow after the market closes, when we are going to get significant news. or at least more data in a worst case. All right. Apple still kind of hanging in there. Again, trend is bullish. Lots of VPOCs moving higher. When I see that, I kind of want to still remain bullish. I don't think I could buy it here, though. I can't buy it at 150. I would prefer if this thing comes down, breaks through the low, freaks everybody out. I'll be looking to get in long somewhere around 147.98 inside day. So we're not going to get a chance for 10 EMA, at least out of the gate on that one. But I'm still interested in buying the dip. I just want to be a lot more patient on when I actually buy the dip. NVIDIA. Again, we are trapping a decent amount of people from yesterday. We've got into here's an interesting thing. I mean, at least, but so we have this dotted line is a long-term higher volume area. We also have inverse hammer right there. This is a gap refill. It's like the McDonald's soda machine. We refill in the gaps. I'm going to start just saying that from now on. This is a retest into that hammer, into that open gap that we had, and more than likely probably giving us a little bit more room to the downside at this point. At least longer term picture, but for right now, I would be leaning a little bit short. The fact that we're breaking underneath those two candles, we did close this gap that's up here. Our targets on this one probably about 125 even for right now. So again, I'd be leading short inside day though. Again, 10 EMA, we're probably going to be sitting on our hands for a little bit of action today. Let me just log into the broker too. Since we got 2 more minutes left. All right, let's go to AMD. And then we'll cover Tesla real quick. We got 2 minutes. That gives me about 1 minute on each. Again, this is about a 50% retrace of yesterday's move. Just trading sideways, still inside this big old candle with the high volume, not able to break that. I would need for the confidence level to really start to grow on this one, probably about 64.26. Even in that case, target would be about 68, but I think a lot of people around that 68 zone is going to look to sell. A little bit of a stair step pattern higher, which is decent. I'd still be looking to buy the dip just at open. I think I'm still a little bit more bearish than not. So that's going to be, I think, a lot of the play I'm looking for. Just I don't know if I want to short at open. To be honest, I don't know how excited I am to short most of these things. Google was probably the most impressive short, but besides that, I think a lot of these things are still just in this sideways chop zone. Tesla is no different. We are trapping some bulls, not many on Tesla, but we are starting to get that stair step pattern higher. So I am still leaning more bullish, but I'm going to wait for those dips to come in. I did look at Microsoft. We could pull it up real quick. I think I got 45 seconds. MSFT. Yep. It is a significant gap down. Significant. The only I would want to lean short on this one, but I'd want this thing. I'm not going to short it here at these support levels. I much prefer short or attempting a short somewhere around 234, 32. If not, let it run a little bit higher into this 238, 239, 240. Somewhere up in this zone would be a much better attempted short. It could bounce pretty much immediately, 230, 34. Next level down, 227.64. Next level down, 226.08. Those are all going to be some kind of supports, and this reward not that crazy. But all my friends at YouTube land, unfortunately, that bell means I have to run. I got things to do. I got to go places. I got nowhere to go. I'll be here all day. But you guys could also join me later in the future at any point you choose. Just go to reallifetrading.com. You guys could go to All Access Pass and be able to trade with us all day. You guys are incredible. I'll catch all of you guys later.